Welcome to Discover You, the podcast where we explore groundbreaking ideas and inspiring voices in mental health and behavioral health. I'm your guest host, Amy Charlesworth. We are here at the Emerging Themes in Behavioral Health Conference, catching up with some amazing innovators who are reshaping the treatment space with fresh breakthroughs and new approaches. Today, we are honored to be joined by Dr. Dawn Grant, an award-winning media psychologist, researcher, educator, and national expert on technology's impact on mental health. Dr. Grant serves as the National Advisor of Healthy Device Management for Newport Healthcare and has been a powerful voice in the field of media psychology through his leadership with the American Psychological Association. A sought-after keynote speaker, educator, and media contributor, his work has been featured in major outlets including the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Forbes, and CNN. He's known for translating complex research into practical insights on how our digital lives shape our mental well-being. His current work dives deep into the effects of device use on relationships, identity, and emotional health, particularly for young people. I'm so excited to dive into today's conversation where we'll explore how we can all build healthier, more mindful relationships with our technology and each other. Dr. Grant, welcome to Discover You.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you for having me. This is a real privilege.
We're excited to dive in. And of course, our first question is just to get, people excited about your background a little bit more and how you got started in this particular field.
Oh, okay. So for many, many years, for most of my life up until that point, I worked actually in media. So I worked in entertainment and I had all kinds of things. I'm still a card-carrying member of a lot of those, performing unions and writing, all of that. So I did that for a long time. And it's not like I have it's not like how do I want to say this? I've been in recovery for 24 years. So it's pretty much everybody knows. It's not a secret. I was pausing because I believe and really strongly believe in anonymity is a spiritual foundation of any of the 12-step programs. But even if I wanted to, I'm not altogether unknown. So a long time ago now, in a galaxy that feels far, far away, I got sober. And when that happened, I realized that I had to make a profound change in my life. And I also wanted to give back. So I made the decision to start working in treatment. So for the last almost 24 years, 23 and a half, I have worked in the treatment world. And so I started working as a tech in a residential treatment center. I got to tell you, Amy, of all the great jobs I've been able to have since, gosh, that was my favorite. I really love being a tech. But so I started working in treatment and I realized I was really in over my head. I mean, I had a background in, a whole other field that now I'm in recovery, I'm in psychology, I'm in addiction, and I am trying to be legit. So I first went back to school and became a certified drug counselor. And that really helped me. But I really believe in dual diagnosis treatment. It's what helped me and what worked for me. So in other words, looking not at just what the struggle with the substance is, but what's driving it. What's the underlying co-occurring disorder that could be happening? And I really believe that kind of synergy of work is important. So it's very important to learn if you're struggling with anything, how to, heal. But I also think it's important to find out how you got there, right?
It's such a beautiful gift for you to have your own personal story with addiction and then to turn around and help somebody behind you. Not just somebody, thousands of people behind you through your work. So, it's really
well,
awesome.
And I would love, thank you. I have the opinion, I've done a lot of schooling. I have a doctorate in psychology now. So that's kind of, Pinterest that, we'll come back. But I know that's important. But I'm going to tell you, I learned kind of everything I needed to learn in going through this. And I will, I make living amends to all the people who, I'll just say it this way, because again, it's like a pretty public figure now, so people know when I speak a lot. Oh man, when I went down, I scorched an empire to the earth. It was Game of Thrones epic with the dragons. But it also, there was a lot of people who got caught in that, as we tend to do, and that is something I will always need to make living amends for, and I do, and everything's been really, I think, good for a long time. But the idea that I've already been through it, I'll tell you, there is nothing, and I tell my clients this because I work in the treatment field, but I also have a private practice. I tell them, please, there's nothing you can tell me that I could ever judge. So that kind of trust, knowing that I didn't read about in books, that I've been there, but also that there's a way out, like someone taught me. Someone had to show me, because I didn't believe there was. I thought I was terminally unique and like no one is ever going to be able to help me. Well, that's just not true. So what happened was that I started working in treatment, and I first became a drug counselor because I wanted to be able to be the best I could be and do it legitimately. But then I was working in dual diagnosis treatment. And suddenly I realized that I'm dealing with some psychological and mental health issues that I don't even understand. And that wasn't cool with me. That didn't feel ethical. That didn't feel right. So I went back to school. I originally was going to pursue clinical psychology, but I got to be honest, I was taking those classes and they were great, but it didn't feel authentic. It wasn't really feeling right to me. So what I did was I took a great leap of faith. Oh God, this is so anti-me. I am so geeky, like everything's got to be done right, and that's how I was raised. And maybe that was part of the problem back in the day. So I decided this is not right, and I decided I'm in this program of recovery now, and I need to be authentic, and I'm not trying to do something anymore as much, because it's progress, not perfection, to impress you, to make myself look good, and I didn't want to be a clinical psychologist. I wanted to know, but it wasn't what I wanted, so I took a great leap of faith. This was so polar to anything I would do, Amy, but I had to do it. It was also because now I was in this program of recovery and authenticity and trying to do this right, and have integrity in all my actions, right? Oh God, I've never done this. I dropped out of the program. I completed the classes. I completed an early child development class and something else, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was between trapeze bars with no net and didn't know. I was on a plane going to a wedding, and I saw this magazine in the airplane, and it was talking about this doctorate in media psychology. And I'm reading about this school that's got this doctorate in media psychology, and I'm thinking, wait, please don't judge. I was like, they created this for me. It's the synergy of all my media that I love and all the entertainment I love and all the psychology. I mean, of course they did not. I ended up applying to that program and getting accepted to that program, but it was also because there's another thing going on. So I am one of the last generations of digital immigrants. Do you know what a digital immigrant is?
I don't.
Okay. So thank you. That's good. I appreciate that, because some of the people watching this might not. A digital immigrant is someone who did not grow up with all this technology. When I was growing up, dating me, we had a phone on the wall. It was beige. It was rotary. Like, we were not fancy people. So my friends had the push button ones, but we just had the basic plan. But we had a phone that sat on the wall with a cord for a while. And then we got, more advanced. So I'm a digital immigrant. So that's cool. But I'm the father of digital natives. Both my daughters were born with no idea how we ever survived. How did we ever survive without any of them? Like, well, we did. But so I'm a digital immigrant. My children are digital natives. So I started to learn. And my older daughter was one of the first generations of digital natives who just grew up with all of these new technologies and all of these devices and things. So I kind of grew up with her as a digital immigrant, but watching my children explore all of these different platforms and these different devices. It still boggled my mind when I was told by my child that we could not possibly go on vacation because her Tamagotchi would die. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a keychain with the thing. And, what's interesting is that as technology has evolved so rapidly, my teen clients that I work with in the mid-2000s, 2000 teens, were telling their parents they couldn't go on vacation because of their snap streaks.
Wow. That's quite something.
So it's just always going to evolve, right? So I was looking at this, and this program was just perfect because we had to take a complete clinical psychology, the way the program was set up, a complete clinical, same like you would take in clinical psychology curriculum. So at the time I was like, why am I having to take this? I thought I didn't want this, but it was right. So I got to study, and my doctorate is in psychology. It has a specialization in media psychology. But it was also as the rise of the machines, as they say, was happening. So I started looking at things, Amy, and I was observing around the world, and I started to see how these devices were starting to impact us even back in the late, like the 2007, 8, 9, 10. And I thought, ooh, but it was really my kids watching their reactions, exploring these. I'm a digital immigrant. I didn't want to know about this stuff. But because I had to, I started to see that there might be some problems, but I'm also studying the psychology of how media and things like this impact us. And I started getting nervous, especially about social media. So that's kind of how I got into it. And gosh, I was so worried, that I was making a mistake. I've made so many mistakes in my life. If I was wrong about really, really going forward with my work, that's now 15 years of looking at our device behaviors and how they might impact us, I would have been an epic mistake. But as we've seen, I wasn't wrong. So hopefully my student loans will continue to get paid.
And your work has just been so incredible and across a variety of different areas of technology. Specifically, you've been focusing on how technology impacts relationships. And so tell me a little bit about some of those things. What are some of those factors that are arising through your research and through working with families and individuals together? What are some of the impacts?
Well, I think, it's interesting, and thank you for asking that, but I would imagine that everyone watching this could come up with in their own lives how these devices influence and impact. Now, I want to make something really clear, because I should have said this maybe first. I am not anti-technology. I'm not anti-devices. I use them all the time. I have sometimes a little problem with Waze, because sometimes I think it purposely is just trying to mess me up. Sometimes I understand why it takes me off the freeway, and I think, oh, I'm going to get like some cool little shortcut, and then it just takes me back on the freeway. I'm like, yeah. But I use technology. However, Henry David Thoreau, in 1864, wrote the book Walden Pond. He wrote the book Walden. And in it, he has a quote: "Men have become the tools of their tools." Now, I am very confident that Thoreau was not talking about the kind of devices and things we have. He was talking about things like plowshares. There was actually the first dishwashing machine. But I saw that quote and I included it in my presentations because these devices and the platforms and services they deliver, Amy, they're tools. But what we have learned very quickly is that for some of us, we have become their tool. Now we're learning more. Like I started to look at this in 2007, 2008, 2009, and I was studying and researching and doing research studies. I started to look at this and I went, wait a second. And this was very nascent and early on, right? But I was looking at this and I went, wait, this might be an issue. But then we've all seen what has happened. And now in the last few years, we have seen that people who work for these companies or worked for these companies and the creators themselves are coming forward and saying, oops, our bad. Because I tell people, just putting it out there, if it's free, you're the product. So I don't think Meta and all these companies that do even social media, do you think that that's a free service they're just providing? No, we are the product. But what has happened because we become so attached to these devices and the services they deliver, I don't even know, how long are we going to keep calling them phones? How much and the frequency do we even use these little devices to communicate and talk anymore? And don't try to get a teenager to talk on the phone. They're all texting.
Right. I mean, I also think about the funny quote that I've seen where the head of Apple doesn't even allow their children to use Apple's devices and iPads and things. I think that's so funny.
Yeah. Steve Jobs did not let his kids have iPads. His company invented them. Steve Cook, he's got a nephew but I do a whole slide in a presentation. They knew. Don't get high on your own supply. All of them, they all go through, and I talk about, it's kind of like, it reminds me of the controversy about the tobacco industry back in the day when they were finding out that the people who actually produced all this tobacco were not using it, don't let their kids use it, forbade it. But if you go through all of them, and I have it on the slide, yes, of course. But, the idea of how this happened, because people ask me all the time, Amy, how did this happen so fast? It's like, gosh, think about it. Like, I guess we could say now 25 years ago, there wasn't even really social media. I mean, it was MySpace. I still miss MySpace. I love and Ask Jeeves. People are watching.
Yeah.
Ask Jeeves. Well, Ask Jeeves. Well, sorry, it's now ChatGPT. So ask ChatGPT. But when you think about relative terms, 20-something years ago, nobody even carried around a cell phone. Mm-hmm. If we did, it was the thing we thought was going to change the world. It was the BlackBerry. Do you remember the BlackBerry?
Oh, yeah.
Loved it. Remember what we called it?
The Pearl. Yeah, BlackBerry Pearl. Yeah.
Like we're taking this nostalgic trips down.
Nobody date us. Nobody date us.
Do you remember what we jokingly, we called the BlackBerry?
No.
I don't know if we called it the Crackberry because it was so addictive.
Yeah.
Little did we know what was about to happen on June 26, 2007, which is a day that I proposed, my theory. When we look back, we're going to say that was the inflection point. That's when it all changed. But go ahead. What were you going to?
Oh, and no, I'm just so excited to dive in more. I mean, you've explored the concept of technoference with families and relationships and how it has impacted people. Tell me more about that. And what is technoference?
Good. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so there's 3 different kind of behaviors that are phenomenon that these devices have really been identified as causing some struggles. So it's the term absent presence, which I know sounds like an oxymoron or a paradox. Absent presence, what is that? So there's absent presence, there's phubbing, and technoference. So if I asked you, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but what do you think absent presence? That's so weird. What does that mean? What do you think absent presence means?
For me, it's probably like sitting on the couch. Maybe my son's talking to me and I'm completely just devoid of the engagement with him because I'm scrolling through Instagram or something.
That's right. Mm-hmm. You're in the room, you're with the people, but you're not. Mm-hmm. You're present, but you're an absent presence. Sort of like, it's not really, I'm not trying to say it's a fugue state because I'm not trying to be disrespectful to people who struggle with that. But it's just you're on your rice and doesn't matter what's going on. There could be a zombie apocalypse and you're going to probably miss it. And then maybe you become a zombie because you get bit. It's absent presence means that. So then there's what the second one is, and I'm saving technoference for the end, but there's phubbing. Phubbing is a portmanteau. Ooh, fancy word. What's that? It means it's a combination, a synergy of 2 different words. So phubbing means phone and snubbing. So it's similar, but what it means is that you're on your phone, you're on your device, and you're just ignoring people. Hey, Amy. You're just snubbing them. And then there's technoference. Technoference means that you and I are having a conversation like we're having right now, but then our device sends out an alert, a notification, someone calls, and I'm having presence with you. We're together, but then that device, alert, alarm, notification, call, interrupts, and instead of remaining with you, what do you think I do?
Oh, you're going right to the phone.
I'm going right to the phone. So here's what happens. And so I don't believe that if you're with a person, and I know even dinner, if you can get the family to dinner together, I have always endorsed and believe that if you're with someone, put the phone away. Mm-hmm. Turn it off and stow it, because here's the thing, and I don't know, people can disagree with me. Real life only happens right now. So the experiences, the opportunities, the improvisational things that happen, they only happen once, right? Anything coming through any device is digital, which means it's archived, which means it's available. It's waiting for you. That's not real life. So if you decide that you're going to be in present presence with a person and really have a relationship and experience, then I think that you have to remove the distractions of your device. Mm-hmm. And you're going to stow it. And I'm going to give you an example. So say that you're over your friend's house and your friend has an adorable, very adorable new puppy. But that puppy's yappy, and that puppy is there, and it's kind of like coming at you and pawing at you, and you're the guest. What might your friend with the new puppy, as adorable as it is, what would your friend do? with that puppy.
Immediately want to show it to you. And,
Right.
Yeah.
And then if the puppy is on you and kind of you're the guest and the puppy's yapping and barking and trying to get all.
Put it away, move it to another room maybe.
Right.
Yeah, put it in the crate. Yeah.
Exactly. I would think that's what I would do if my new puppy, I'd want to show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would want to put the puppy someplace safe. And I'm not trying to, I say the same thing about a device because that's the yappy puppy. I'm also going to propose this, and you can disagree. But if the phone is on the table, a device is on the table, then it's on the table. So what it means is that even if it's not my intention, Amy, I could be sending a message to you, Amy, you are really important to me right now. I love we're having coffee, we're talking, whatever we're doing, we're having experience, we're taking a walk. I'm really interested in you. But if that device notifies me or sends an alert, I might consider, I'm probably going to take that bid. It means you're really important, but I'm open to better bids. And so I'm sitting there and you and I are talking and we didn't mean it, but I just put the phone on the table and suddenly I hear a little alert notification. Chances are that I'm still with you, but I'm not. I'm suddenly like, oh my God, what is it? Oh my God, someone's thinking of me. What's going on in that device? Oh my God, what is it? What is it? And I'm just, cortisol is flowing to my brain, but dopamine is, because who could it be? And I can't resist it because that's what now I've been conditioned and programmed like all of us. And I'm gonna be like, and you're talking, but I'm really having a hard time focusing because of the alert. Oh my God, look at it. Who is that? And then I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna, and you're gonna be like,
yeah.
Okay. Or it's going to go off and you are going to look at me because you see it and you're going to just let me out of my misery and say, do you want to check that, Don? Oh, thank you. So I'm going to go and go, okay, it's really important because someone alerted. Okay, so hold that thought. Pinterest, what's yours? Okay. Oh my God, I got Kohl's Cash. Hashtag crushing it.
Yeah. Something completely irrelevant to the day. Absolutely.
Well, I hope you are not diminishing the value of Kohl's Cash.
Yeah, Kohl's Cash.
So
I was just going to ask a little bit of a continuation of that question. We focus on, I think mostly so far we focused on like how it might impact maybe like the relationship between me and you and how offended I might be. What is that doing for the person and their mental health that's like so responsive in that way? Like they must be having some sort of conditioning.
Okay. Let me just explain this to you because I want to finish that thought if you don't mind. So I would propose that if you're with a friend or you're in real life or you're at your daughter's recital or you're in a movie, I don't think the zombie apocalypse is going to happen while that hour and a half that you're supposed to be in presence with a friend or watching your daughter in her ballet class or your kid's baseball game. I've had so many kids, the parents will say, oh my God, I am the best parent ever. They're like flexing. I went and go to every baseball game of my son. I'm there. No, the parents go, I'm there every time. And I've had the kids literally say in the family therapy, will say, no, you were there. But every time I looked up when I was playing, you were looking down at your device. I wish you hadn't come. It was worse. Oh, Mother of the Year just kind of goes, So in real life, this happens with taking, putting the phone and having technoference. I've had this in real life. It's not fun. I'm at an event, I'm at a party, and I'm talking to someone, and they're looking at me and they're talking to me, but they're also looking over my shoulder. Great, I am very happy you're talking to me, but what I'm aware of, what you're indicating to me and signaling is that I'm cool, but if a better bid comes along, if Kohl's Cash walks through that door, if a better bid comes along, you're going to take it, and that doesn't feel great. So I suggest to everyone, when you're with someone in presence or at some event that is really only one time, turn off the phone, stow it. It's going to be there. When you turn it back on, everything is waiting for you.
Yeah.
So, when we look at things and we look at how pervasive devices have become, this is so quick. So I want to just also, because people ask me this all the time, they'll say, how did this happen so fast, Don? Like, oh my God, like I said, it feels like, a long time, 20 years or 25 years, but when did we cross the inflection point? What's going on? How did we all get so involved with these devices where everywhere we go, we look down and everyone's in absent presence staring down at their phone, crossing the street? Oh, that's not just safe. So how'd this happen? And I have a theory, and I'm just going to propose it because I say this. I believe, and I said it earlier, June 26th, 2007 was when, if we look back, and those of us who do will say, oh, that's when we crossed the inflection point. That's when we passed over the event horizon. Do you have...
It was the first iPhone.
Thank you.
Yeah, first iPhone.
June 26, 2007. If you were in one of my presentations, I'd throw you a prize for that.
Heck yeah.
So why would I propose, do you think, that June 26, 2007 was the day that changed, at least in this thing we're talking about, changed everything and there was no going back? What do you think?
I think that was the first interactive screen, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did the iPhone have that had never come, even the BlackBerry didn't have? What was the capability that the iPhone provided that there's no going back from? That I think, and I'll propose, and
the app system.
But where does the app system come from?
The App Store.
But where does the App Store? Where do you find it?
The cloud. Oh no, you're gonna have to feed me the answer.
I know, it's okay. You were right there. So with the iPhone was the first time the internet became portable.
Oh, thank you. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
The internet, well, you were right there. The internet became portable. It used to be that if we wanted to get on the internet, or we wanted to go and ask Jeeves, or we wanted to go on MySpace or Friend Finder or Classmates.com, we had to be at our laptop, or really our back then it was our hard drive, right? Because Facebook, was in 2004 really, so we really had to do things at our desktop, and we're not going to port those around. And if we have a laptop, it's so clunky, we're not going to sit down and try to check our socials, right? But suddenly with that iPhone, the internet becomes portable. It's everywhere. There's accessibility. We can be on it and all the time. Okay, so that was 2004. Then, here we go. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I feel badly.
No, please.
So
please.
then, 2010. They released the iPhone 4 because they did, each year. So a couple years later, the iPhone 4 in 2010, June 24th, 2010. What was different about the iPhone 4? Do you remember? I know I'm asking, these are the questions let me Google that.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to...
What was different about the iPhone 4 brought something else? When I'm talking about how did we get here so quickly, how did this happen so fast? Besides the fact that now we're all, they're playing us, they're gaming us, they're leveraging algorithms for our limbic system, all of that. What was different? I'm giving you the hardware and software of how we got caught up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the upgrades. I actually have every single iPhone still stored.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's still stored in my box.
Oh my gosh, you're all in.
I had all of them, but I at some point within that window of time, I know we integrated the iPod into the phone.
Okay, think of the hardware. I'm going to help you out.
Is it a camera? The camera?
What kind of camera? Bingo, you're going to get a prize. What was different? What camera? What did the iPhone...
Oh, it was FaceTime, right? FaceTime. The front camera?
The front-facing camera. Thank you. iPhone 4, front-facing camera. Oh my goodness. This is amazing. Yeah. Hello, selfie culture. Mm-hmm. And Facetune, 2010 also. Oh, wow. 2012. So wait, let me start. Okay. I got ahead of myself. 2000, first we have the iPhone, then 2010 we've got the front-facing camera, but you already said it, we have the App Store. How convenient. We can take selfies and migrate them over on the same device to our socials, which was really at that time Facebook, because everyone was kind of on Facebook until the kids realized all their parents were on Facebook. So then, of course, mother necessity, and then 2010 Snapchat, 2012 Instagram, 2017 TikTok. So and all on on. But the 2010 was that front-facing camera. How convenient, how nice of them to create this so we can just take selfies all day long and then just migrate them immediately on the same device to our social platforms and then just sit and wait and hope we don't go to a shame spiral because we didn't get enough likes, fire emojis, or whatever, all right? So that was the iPhone 4. All right, but then we had Facetune, which gave rise to filter culture. So now none of us like the way we look. Now we all want to change. And it was very cute. Instagram with the tongues coming out when it first came out and you can make
bunny ears.
Oh, that was so adorable. However, we didn't realize that with that capability came a very darker part because now I've got 16, 17-year-old female clients who are comparing and despairing with all the other girls who are doing it, and they want Botox. And they're telling me at 17 years old they need plastic surgery.
Wow.
Because all of these Instagram influencers, because when we got Instagram, Snapchat was a different animal, but Instagram was really, in my opinion, the birth of the influencer. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I don't care, I can't see the people watching this, so they can, hate and cancel me. I won't know. We had influencers when I was in high school, Amy. Oh, we did.
Oh, yeah.
We called them posers. So where are these people, suddenly the rise of the influence with Instagram, and these people with no background are suddenly directing everything we think, everything we buy, everything we should do? All right, and well, fast forward that, because then TikTok took and anointed the influencer, and now we got influencers, we don't even know it, driving the commerce, telling us what to buy, but they're being sponsored, so they're pushing products they don't even believe in. There's all these trends, a lot of them are dangerous, and the one that's really my cause is we've got so-called influencers on TikTok who have like a shelf life of about 2 years. I'd love to do like a reality show, influencers 2023, where are they now, right? But we've got them giving diagnoses. They're untrained, they're uncertified, they know no psychology. This is a real problem. And they're giving diagnoses to their followers with no training, and it's not healthy, and it's very dangerous. And we got these kids, and I've got a 15-year-old girl who comes into my office, and she says, "Oh, hi, Dr. Grant, nice to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you. So, Dr. Grant, I'm gonna make this really easy. I already can tell you my diagnoses." And I'm like, interesting. Let me look. I'm sorry, I must have the paperwork wrong. It says here you've never met with a mental health person or a professional or a practitioner, or never. She's like, "No, I haven't." I was like, "Oh, okay, but your diagnoses." "Oh yeah, I have them for you. I just want to get down to it." I said, "Okay, what's going on?" "Okay, so I'm borderline. I've got depersonalization, desensitization. I'm bipolar. I've got eat." I'm like, whoa.
So concerning. Yeah.
I say, "Where'd you get these?" "TikTok." And this is something I've talked to clinicians and practitioners across the country. We're all seeing this. And these kids are being, and adults too, but they're being diagnosed or taking on self-diagnoses. And it's very, very dangerous. So I just had to add that in, because we have to stop this. It has to be regulated, because it's causing a lot of problems and a lot of risks.
And throughout your research, as you've encountered things like this, and obviously seen the massive impacts that can happen to young children, caregivers, families, couples, what are some device management strategies and some words of wisdom you might have for the 15-year-olds among us watching?
Oh my God, well, they don't want to listen to me. I got nothing for them. I can't even get my own kids to listen.
Yeah.
Bribe them, see if you can, So here's the thing. Again, I look at it this way. I'm not saying everybody's got a problem, right? Here's what I do. And when I do assessments, which I do, and I have created instruments and I have things that I use. So if I'm looking and meeting with someone, I just basically do the old standard kind of version of a clinical biopsychosocial, biological, psychological, sociological assessment. And what I do is I say, "Look, it's just you and me here. I don't care. I'm not judging you. I don't have to live your life. I'm here to help you. So let's look at your device-centric behaviors, and let's go through and see if any of them could be impeding, impacting, or subjugating your health and success across biological, but your body, your health, your physical body, your psychological health and well-being, or your sociological health and well-being." And as we go through the behaviors and we talk about it, if we find that there might be something like, maybe you're too sedentary and you never go outside and you're sitting there playing and watching YouTube for 20 hours, or that would be biological or psychological. If you're comparing and despairing, or you're being cyber-aggressed, there's cyberbullying going on, or you're looking, because we have to realize that everything we create online is self-curated and self-created. I'm going to tell you, I have friends and clients who, if you look at their social media, Amy, they are #crushing it. I know their real life, and it could not be more different. So I think that it's important to look at your device use behaviors, and you want to see, like, what could be causing me some issues. just pivot it, adjust it a little bit. Maybe go to bed a little earlier. Maybe keep your phone outside the room when you sleep, and don't leave it like a baby monitor where it can go off all night and tell you got cold cash. You can find out tomorrow. Put down the phone and stow it when you're with other people. I have a whole list of strategies and skills that I have collected over the years and beta tested to see. But I think each of us, if we're really honest, we think about how often we're programmed like Pavlov's dog to reach for that device, reach for that device. I would suggest just a simple thing. The next time you're out in public or you're standing in a line, maybe don't take your phone out and make a bid for connection with the person who's human, who's right there with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Great words of wisdom. And as you've been going along in your career here and had done so much research and worked with some incredible patients and offered lots of words of wisdom, what are some of the things that are standing out as themes for you that we can do, in our society to maybe help lessen for our kids or, at school or anything like that? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah, sure. Well, there's so much, there's a lot of, there's been a lot of legislation globally proposed worldwide. The UK has done some really good things with protecting kids online. California actually, has done some things. But I hate to have to say this to parents or caregivers, but we cannot count on the creators. We cannot count on the government to really, really help protect the kids online or create legislation, because they're trying to do COSA 2, then they're talking about that it violates the First Amendment. I follow all of this. State of the art in the morning in any of this is obsolete by noon, but I really, unfortunately, I wish we could say, and there's a lot of states that have put all kinds of different bans on different things, whether it's social media or whether it's, online pornography, whatever. There's different states that have really put regulations, but I just say, look, for right now, I think it's going to be up to parents and caregivers to really be the guardrails for their kids' device use. Mm-hmm. And you have to also model the same behavior. But unfortunately, I don't think that the legislation is, there's another one going on right now. We'll see. What's interesting is that we're currently in this country, we have a government that is very polarized, right? It couldn't be more polarized right now. So if one side says the sky is blue, the other side says, what sky? The one thing that they all agree on and have throughout the last administration and this one is trying to protect kids online. But I just don't see that we're going to get the protection, and there's no investment or agency or reason for the developers, the creators, to do it, because they want to get our eyes on these devices on their site and keep them there as long as possible. So there's something that they, just so the people know, and I think it's important because why do you think that people stay on these devices so long? Once you get in there, it's like a casino. Why do you think that people stay in there so long, like in a casino when people will be there for hours and hours and hours? Why do you think that is?
I think, it's probably a lot of marketing firms will focus on attention span, and, if they are able to be so rapid and engaging and interesting, and change it. I've heard the phrase 8 seconds, right? So,
yeah.
That it helps people retain and stay on the particular device or engage.
Our attention and attention economy is what you're talking about, and some people consider that the most valuable asset you can get from a consumer. Mm-hmm. So they were very smart. The people who created these, and it's coming out now, we know. So they were very smart when they developed them. So we've got the device, right? So say that you have your iPhone. I talked about casinos, and we think, oh my gosh, people can go into casinos. And there's a lot of psychology that went into the original development of casinos and then subsequently. So psychologists tried to help the owners of casinos figure out how to get the people in there and keep them there. So no windows, no clocks, give them free drinks, keep them going. But there's a slot machine. And what's very maybe interesting is that the designers of these devices use the same flaw in our limbic system that designers of slot machines use to keep people sitting on those stools and riding the old one-arm bandit, now it's buttons, forever. So it's called our chase of intermittent rewards, variable rewards. So what it means is when you pull the handle on a slot machine in the old days and now you push a button, but just do this. It would spin, spin, spin. What am I going to get? 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 Oh God. Okay, let me do it again. Oh, and the chase, because as humans, we love that intermittent variable rewards. We love to get to buy the Cracker Jacks, get to the bottom. What's the prize? I don't know. Now, if you see in the store, there's so many products where it's a surprise thing, and collectibles do this, collectible companies, so that you never know what you're gonna get because they know you're gonna keep buying and buying, never knowing what it is. So pull the lever and the thing comes up. So they use the same thing for the iPhones.
Wow.
So
that's so wild.
Well, think about this. When you have an iPhone, they couldn't put a handle on it, but they wanted the same idea. What do they do with an iPhone? What did they use psychologically, these designers of it? What did they do?
Notifications?
You think about this. Pulling a slot machine. What am I going to get? What? Nothing. What am I going to get? What am I going to get? Oh my God, what? Dopamine, adrenaline.
Sliding down.
Scrolling.
Scrolling. Oh,
They
gosh.
couldn't put a handle on the phone,
Yeah,
of course.
let's scroll.
They used the same refresh. What am I going to get? What am I going to get? What am I going to get on social media? What am I going to get? I'm going to stay there forever.
Yeah. Wow. The age right now of consent for most apps and applications, websites, things right now, it's 13 years old. What do you think? What do you think the age of consent should be?
First of all, not one size fits all.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, I know a lot of 16-year-olds who are very capable and should be able to go and get their driver's license. And I work with a lot of them whose parents and I have decided maybe we're going to delay. This is something that I've talked to the people, and I get to work with amazing people in the world on projects. I'm so fortunate, but I've worked at this a long time. You know, I've done this 15 years. So I absolutely stand firm. I've said in media, I've said to people who are, you know, do what I do. I said, I don't think there's any age. First of all, let's just be honest. You tell, and it's already, we know this, it's been going on since the beginning. There's no age verification. So you say the minimum age for an app is 13. Well, okay, well, where's the verification? 8-year-olds are going on and just changing the name and the birth date. So we already knew that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out how do they age verify without compromising, you know,
Like personal information.
yeah. Meanwhile, I laugh at that because, like, everybody, including Equifax, there's probably 9 of me walking around with identities around the world because we've been breached. Equifax, which does credit, was breached. We've had so many breaches. I'm not condoning it. But I'm saying, oh, they're saying now that we don't want to age verify the kids who are trying to get on these sites because we don't want to breach their privacy. Well, you don't have to. Because again, it falls to the parents. Now, the kids are going to find a way around it anyway. All we're doing is sending a message, right? So, I do not believe that there is any one age. 13, doesn't matter, because every kid is different. And sometimes they have delays in development. And sometimes they have different maturity aspects. And when their maturation process happens. So I don't believe that there should be any minimum age unless we're going to say 18, which would cause a meltdown globally. But I'll tell you, I think it's going to have to be up to the parents because I'm going to decide for my children because I'm hopefully going to know them what they're ready for. I'm going to be able to decide and should decide when my children should start getting their driver's permit and when I feel comfortable with having them drive, right? When you go to Target, and I'm not endorsing Target, and I work for Target, just so we're clear, just using an example, they have aisles and they say kids' toys 0 to 3, 4 to 8, you know, they've got those aisles where they kind of guide you which aisle has the toys. That doesn't mean that that is for every child. So it might be that my child would fit, and the toys that are in the 3 to 5-year-old aisle are great. But my child actually is so past those, my child would be like, what? Why are you giving me this puzzle? I want the 8-year-old kid. Or it might be they're not ready for those toys. So I don't think that there's an age that we can say, and certainly 13 is such a weird age. It's a weird age. There's so much going on for kids. We're talking about pre or mid or just post puberty. We're talking newly minted teenager. We're talking about they probably just transitioned into high school, so they've got the whole social thing to navigate. There's body things, there's biopsych and social things going on. So when they say, oh, 13, I'm like, Wow, that's like, I don't think anything at 13. 13's weird. It's a weird age. Maybe it wasn't for you, but it's weird.
That was definitely weird for me. And that being said, for the parents at home that are listening to this, what are some words of wisdom that you have to help them train their children for healthier habits around technology? Sure. And, maybe even words of advice for some of us that are over 13, how can we start moving towards a healthier direction?
Yeah, thank you. And I hate to do it to the parents, but parenting is hard, and this is going to be down to the parents. Here's what I say. First thing, parents, don't be afraid of your kids. They're going to try to hold you hostage. That's their job. So parents will say to me, well, I can't, negotiate with them because I've already set the rules and I've let them go too far. And I say, okay, wait, hold on. It ain't over, even if your kid's 16 or 17, because I'm pretty confident either now or in the near future, that kid's going to be coming begging, pleading for the new Xbox, the new iPhone, So that's your time to renegotiate if you don't like the way their behaviors are, because you're probably paying for these things. So I say to parents, do not be afraid of your kids, because you're going to have to be a parent. It's hard. But if your child is maybe spending too much time on their devices. So I say, please, we all kind of lost sight of it in the pandemic. Encourage them. Extracurriculars, after school things, getting outside, interests, hobbies that are not digitally driven, please. The other thing is, I say to parents, you need to model the behavior in them that you expect. The other thing is, and it's very important, I say, I don't care, it's your family, but I think it's very important to tell your kids and let them know the expectation is, however you treat people and behave in real life, that's the expectation of how you are going to treat them and behave online, because there's a lot of things that go on online that are not cool, so whatever your family values are, I think that the expectation for the child, this is the part of good digital citizenship, but I think it's very important that parents also do not put their head in the sand. And I just want to, as we wrap this up, it's no one's fault. We didn't know. We're digital immigrants. This thing happened very fast. We didn't understand what it was. These devices came on suddenly in our lives, and we're like, what's going on? We don't get them. And so we left them to the kids, because we didn't quite understand these devices or these Tamagotchis or these games. We didn't get it, and we couldn't, it was too overwhelming as digital immigrants. So a lot of us just left the kids basically to their own devices, which we have now learned was not good. They became our digital canaries in the virtual coal mine. And then they went into these playgrounds with people, and they became Lord of the Flies. We don't know who was there, what they were doing, but we were not monitoring them. What we've seen is the kids are not all right. Right? All the studies since 2012 that have come out are showing the biannual mental health for kids has shown that they're just getting worse. The kids aren't all right. I don't care what the album said in 1979. This is now. I believe that social media is very contributing to this. However, parents, you need to not be afraid. And look, if you don't know something works, or a device works, or a platform, an app, then that's what YouTube is for. But I don't believe you would give your kid a set of power tools, not know how they work, and say, have at it. So digital immigrants and parents, I think it's very important that you know as much as you can, the sites your kids are going on, the platforms they're on, what are they doing there? You need to at least send the message you're interested. Ask them to, hey, can I play that game with you? You'll get the patented teen eye roll, but at least they know you're paying attention. You also need to notice that if after your child has used their device, do you notice a chronic change in them that is not favorable? Now, I'm not saying it happened once over a weekend when Romeo's breaking up with Juliet and they're texting, but I'm saying if you start to see a chronic change, but that you notice that your kid's on the device going up in their room, but then their mood changes, you might want to try to investigate what's going on there.
Words of wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us today, Don. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here on Discover You, we can't wait to have you back again in the future.
Appreciate it.
Catch you next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.